Everything in Elemental Dungeons is now overpowered, and I'll be explaining how and why in today's video. But before I do that, be sure to subscribe and join the Discord because it helps a ton. So Elemental Dungeons just got a pretty meaningful update that brought us triple jump, a new legendary element, new light dark pass, a passive abilities, but even more notably than all of that, it brought us a mastery cap of 500 on every element that was previously below 500. As you can see on my corrupted nature, right now I have it 473 out of 500. And just as a little sneak peek, look how much damage this does. 68k on nature. Even if it is corrupted, 68k is kind of crazy. So what that means is that every element can now deal substantially more damage when completely leveled up. And to test this, I came very close to maxing out corrupted nature. I got it to the point where I was one-shotting the hardcore Angel Sanctuary mobs. Yes, with corrupted nature, when I hit like mastery 460 on this, I was one-shotting the mobs on Angel Sanctuary with this, which is kind of insane to think about. And as you can see with all of these, this was the mastery before because I had all these maxed out. So like lightning 185 was the previous max, now it's 500, which is a crazy jump. And that's on par with a lot of these like mythics, which like infinity's 500. So the gap between mythics and epics and legendaries and rares is closing. It's closed a lot now. I mean, mythics and legendaries are still better because they'll still have more like utility and stuff and just overall better abilities, but the damage numbers won't be quite as night and day as they used to be. Well, I mean, they're still night and day. Like, I'm not trying to say that rares are equal to mythics. I'm just trying to say that the gap is just so much closer now. And you may be wondering, Cat, why do you complain about that though? Because I have been complaining about it a little bit in the Discord. Well, that's because I think it's kind of silly to see nature could be viable in a level 230 dungeon. And where I think making these things more viable and more fun to use is a good thing overall, I maintain that like rares and epics, in my personal opinion, should not be being used in like the later dungeons, because it kind of disincentivizes a little bit, like saving up and getting those when like my corrupted nature can still clear Angel Sanctuary on the hardest. You know what I'm saying? It kind of disincentivizes getting the better stuff, in my opinion. So I think like this mastery cap increase isn't really that good. I think it was much more important to make those weaker elements more fun to play at the lower dungeons while you save up for legendary and mythic, not making the weaker elements cap just higher. How I would have tweaked epics and like rares, like how they play, is making the move unlocks quicker and slightly raising the cap would have been substantially better than just taking the cap all the way to 500. What I mean is when you start playing the game, it feels like you kind of unlock moves very, very slowly. So instead, make it so you get moves quicker and raise the lower dungeon's health to match the player's now increased strength. And this way, people aren't stuck as new players just using one move and then running around waiting for its cooldown and then using it again. But just increasing the cap doesn't really achieve much of anything. They're still kind of boring in the early game, and by the time you get to late game, you're probably already using kit, so this increased mastery really means nothing. Like in all reality, like nobody is now switching back to fire off of their kit because the mastery got, you know, raised up. But if we made it so you got moves faster early on, people who were at those lower levels might be more inclined to keep playing the game because they're getting moves faster, and the game will then feel more fun to play. So I think that would have been much, much better. And to clarify, it's not that I think this is all bad or anything, I just don't think it adequately addresses lower tier elements being boring in the lower dungeons, which is currently, in my opinion, the main problem with the early game. But I do like a lot of the bounces that have been happening just overall recently since they started updating again, and it's really nice to see the devs actively seeking to make the game more balanced overall. Like, I'm pretty sure everybody remembers when it was Underworld was the most recent dungeon, and the only thing that was useful was kit. Like, there was a massive period of time where it was just kit or nothing. So it is really still nice to see that they're seeking to make things more balanced. And I think right now the game is more balanced just from element to element than it really ever has been. And yeah, I'm going to be dropping a new tier list probably next week as a bunch has changed and the meta is very different with all of these changes, as well as posting on some of these individual buffs that each element received. Like, I think Gravity got some buffs. I heard Infinity also got some buffs as well. So I'll be going over that too. But thanks for watching. See ya.